What's up, guys? It's another talking video, so if you don't want to hear me speak for 5 minutes or so, then skip to the next one and it'll just be a lifting video. If you want to hear me talk about something, then go ahead and tune in. But I had a lot of people request that I put something up in relation to a story I put up a while ago where I talked about what is and isn't progressive overload and why progressive overload isn't always the best thing to look at in the typical sense in terms of progress for a beginner to an intermediate to an advanced lifter, and why progressive overload can look different as you advance through your training career. Progressive overload is one of the basic principles of training for anything, whether it's strength training, endurance training, or anything where we're trying to get better. It is progressively doing more than you did the previous time, which will signify either strength gain, more proficiency, or whatever. It signifies that what you're doing is working and you're getting better. It's the principle behind basic loading parameters for strength training. If I do 100 pounds on Monday, my first week of training for a set of 5, and then I do 105 pounds for a set of 5 on my next week on Monday, that signifies that I have gotten stronger. I may not have have built any muscle to coincide with that. It may have just been neurological, neuromuscular, neuromotor gains, but that shows me that what I am doing is working correctly for the goal, which is gaining strength or gaining muscle by proxy through strength. So people tend to know this at the beginning of their training career because more often than not, beginners rely on linear progression in order to signify that they're doing stuff correctly. If you can go in and you're a beginning weightlifter and you do just the bar the first time, then you throw 5 pounds on the bar the next week or the next session, you do it, you're like, fuck yeah, I feel good about myself, that's awesome. You want to chase that feeling. And obviously it's something that is important to understand because that's what real progress is, specifically when we're talking about powerlifting, because powerlifting, the things that matter are PRs on the platform. However, to that point, PRs and weight on the bar is not the only way that you can think about linear progression, linear overload, or whatever. It's not the only way to get stronger, and it's not the only way to signify that what you're doing is working and what you are becoming is a better lifter or a better athlete. Sometimes as we progress through our training career, because we go from beginner to intermediate to advanced to elite to super elite or whatever, the people that are in that intermediate, advanced, elite, those categories, sometimes you tend to think about, man, okay, I've done the same weight every week. This is pissing me off. I'm not getting stronger. What if the stuff that I'm doing isn't working? Because putting weight on the bar and hitting tangible like number PRs, those are the most, not always the most rewarding, but more often than not, people see those and they're like, fuck yeah, that's the shit that I feel good about. That gives me that dopamine hit where I'm like, yes, I'm doing this correctly. Yes, I'm getting stronger. Yes, I'm becoming a better power lifter. However, if you only rely on that as your form of feedback for linear progression, you are going to find yourself very, very frustrated very, very quickly the longer you stay in powerlifting or strength training or any type of sports performance, because you are not going to PR every training cycle. If you stay in this for over a decade, over 2 decades, whatever, if you make this a part of you, you are not going to always be PRing in a tangible sense, in a weight sense, or running quicker time. Like, for instance, here's an example. Do you think that, like, Usain Bolt is the fastest human on the planet? Do you think that every training cycle leading into the Olympics, every 4 years, Usain Bolt is hitting PRs in his training? He's like, man, I just ran faster than I don't know his program, but it's like, man, I just did this particular workout and shit, I cut 10 seconds off my time. That means I'm going to do better on the track in the Olympics in a year or whenever that is. No, fuck no. If someone of his caliber is expected to PR every single training cycle, you run out of human capability. There's no way to do that, because the required performance and the required debt that you're going to incur due to that level of performance is too high to sustain inside of the training cycle, and it can only happen when it matters, which is on the platform. I don't PR often in my training cycles. I chase stimulus. I use the same weight, but I make it look better. I cut down on my rest times. I add repetitions. I work harder through different means, and I progress in different means rather than just weight on the bar. And that is the point of this video, is to make you guys understand, or try to get my point across, that putting weight on the bar is not the only way to get better. Sometimes you can progress by adding a repetition. Sometimes you can progress by looking at your technique and seeing, okay, last week my knees caved in, or I lost position in my torso, or whatever, and then the next week you use that same weight and you don't have that flaw happen or that error happen during the movement. You rectify it, you identify it, and then you execute better. That's progress. That's a PR. You cut down on rest times. You add a set. There are many, many different ways in order for an athlete to progress and to get better that are not just putting weight on the bar. And as soon as, or the quicker that you guys understand that, the quicker you are going to be able to put yourself in a better position for continued progress in the future, because you'll understand that sometimes you have to make the mature and adult decision in the gym when it comes to your training to not put weight on the bar, because it will pay off better to pursue progression in a different way when it matters, which is on the platform. And this is a video for people that are focused on sports performance in the context of powerlifting. This is not for the gym heroes. If you're a dude who doesn't give a fuck about the platform, throw that 10 on, throw that 25 on, fuck it, go for it. That's your fun, that's your dopamine. But my dopamine, my thrill and my fulfillment, blah, 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 what I want out of this is betterment on the platform. And I tend to think that the people that are listening to this video are kind of oriented towards that. So if you want to make the PRs matter and hit the PRs when they matter, understand that progression can be something other than putting weight on the bar. It can be reps, it can be sets, it can be technique, it can be confidence under the bar. It can be so many different things other than just putting weight on the bar, which will ultimately lead you to better progress in the future, more sustainable progress in the future for a longer period of time, and set you up better to have the weight on the bar when it matters, which is on the platform or when you are expected to perform. I hope that made sense. If it didn't, I don't give a fuck, because again, it's my video. Check out the website, theaodcollective.com. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions, and if you enjoy this stuff, leave a comment, give me your perspective. Chime in. I love talking, obviously. So thank you guys.